You want to play D1? All of a sudden, you're not the same person. You cannot be the same person that you were even 10 minutes ago because there's a whole different level of commitment, dedication, routines, everything. So when you say yes to being a Division I athlete, that's what you want to do. You have to say no to certain things that you used to say yes to. And I'll let you decide what those things are. Okay? When you say yes to becoming a D1 athlete and stepping into that self, you better not look the same as you did 10 minutes ago. We'll talk more about that. Some of the worries that you might have. What if you fail? The comparisons. Well, gosh, like they have a D1 scholarship. My forearms aren't that big. I'm not that fast, right? Those are some of the doubts that'll come in. And the fears, the number one fear that we have, we're not good enough. You're not good enough. That's the fear that we have, that we won't be good enough to play at that level. And here are some of the fears once you have a Division I scholarship, right? The burden. There's a burden that comes with having a Division I scholarship. Because now you're thinking about the next level. Like I just watched college baseball earlier today, and it's not that easy. There's a lot of failure. Guys throw harder. The game is so much faster, right? Well, guess what? Those are some of the fears that will creep in, especially when you're struggling. Okay, so how do we begin to keep out those fears? What do we do? So if you've read my book, chapter 3 is the mental security guard. Okay. Real quick, Chelsea Cummins, I'm calling on you. Can you unmute real quick?
I can.
Why do you have a password on your phone and on your computer?
To protect others from getting into it.
Protect yourself, right? From others getting in your phone. What about when you go to bed at night? You lock your car and you lock your house. Why?
To keep them safe.
Beautiful. Okay. That's all I need from you. Thank you. I just need some interaction. So listen, we have passwords and we have locks to protect what's important to us. But then I'm going to hit you with a piercing question. How much how do I say it? How much access are we allowing our minds, free access to the world? As in that we're not filtering what's coming in, whether from other people, from social media, from the news, whatever it is. How much access are we, free access, are we allowing others, including all the things I just described, free access to our minds? So what do we need to do? We need to set up a mental security guard. When I was young, my dad used to take me to Angel Stadium, and we'd go watch the Yankees play. It's our favorite team. We'd go watch the Yankees play the Angels. And after the game, we'd go over to the players' locker room, hoping just to get a glimpse. I got to see Derek Jeter and Joe Torre walk around. This was my favorite manager, my favorite player at the time was a shortstop. And in front of that player's locker room, there's a security guard. And past that security guard, there is a locked door. The only people who are getting in are the people with proper credentials, which would be a staff member or a player. Okay? Does that make sense? Anyone ever sit outside like, I want to be in that locker room. I would love to be in that locker room. And for those of you who have professional sport in your career path, guess what? We all want to be there. But who gets in? Right here. This is our sports world. It's a pyramid. And only those people at the very, very top, talent-wise and mentality-wise, make it in. And those who don't have credentials don't get in. So what am I getting at? Well, when we have an unprotected mind, we allow the doubts, the worries, the fears, the social media, all of that we allow in. And what does it do? It starts to cloud. It starts to muddy our mind to where we can't see clearly. And I'll tell you in a second what the goal of the athlete is, because there's two goals of an athlete. Okay? That's what happens when you don't set up a mental security guard, someone to protect and filter out what should go in and what should go out. So, our words, we have thousands of thoughts every single day. Words combined create thoughts. So, what thoughts are helping you? What thoughts are hurting you? What thoughts belong in the mind? The elite thoughts, right? Elite thoughts. Okay? And then there's everything else. I'm not saying that you will be able to block everything out. I'm not saying the world is not going to come at you. I'm actually saying the opposite. The world will come at you. But you get to choose, because you're going to start setting up a mental security guard where you filter what comes in and what comes out, to where these doubts, worries, and fears over here, they're going to bounce off. Say, sorry, you don't belong here. Sorry, you're not on my list. Because you have a bouncer. That's what a bouncer does when you go to a club. You're too young for that. Parents, you know what I'm talking about, right? You have a mental security guard that says, sorry, you don't belong. Okay, you have the choice of what you entertain, whether that's watching the news all the time or whatever it might be on social media. But then you get to choose what you let in. The easiest way is to get rid of it. But if you're not going to get rid of it, filter what you allow in, to where you stay clear-minded. Clear-minded right here. So I'm going to give you the goal of an athlete. There's 2 goals of an athlete. Some of you who know me know these. Number 1, what is true? What is true about this moment? So if I have bases loaded, I was working with a team the other day, I was in their dugout. It could be bases loaded, 1 out, and we're a little bit struggling. Well, what's true? I am 1 pitch away from a double play to get me out of an inning. That is what's actually true. So to clearly see what is true, so that number 2, so I can make the right next move. If you want to win, if you want to be successful, break everything you do down to 2 things. Truly see what's there so that you can make the right next move. Truly see what's there so you can make the right next move. And how do we do that? Well, we allow only the elite thoughts in, because we have secured our mind. We secure what we allow in. The doubts, worries, and fears, yes, they will be there, but they are only those things. They are only doubts, they are only worries, and they are only fears. They are thoughts. They are not you, they are thoughts. Can I get a couple thumbs up if that's clicking and making sense? Okay, good. All right, I just switched the people I'm looking at. Aaron Johnson, I love your beard today. Carol and Jeremy, how we doing out there? We got Devin, Riley. All right, that's who I'm seeing on my screen. Keep me pumped up. Okay, so we just talked about how to secure the mental, or secure your mind. And I promise you, I told you, this is not just for the kids. This is for the adults too, okay? So I'm hoping you're getting a lot out of it. So all of a sudden, we get down to this idea like failure, okay? Failure, in here, that's the end. But if we're talking about building a mental security guard and only allowing thoughts in from an inner coach's perspective, all failure is, it's experience. It's data. That's what failure is. And when we gather data, guess what? Now, it gives us an opportunity to grow. Okay? We cannot grow, you cannot grow into the D1 athlete you are striving to become until you fail a whole lot. I know it sounds backwards, but failure can be your friend. I think of it as a wise mentor. It gives you feedback of where you're falling short currently. I work with a team. Last week we were 4-0. Now we're 4-2. Those 2 losses, we talked about it. We're okay with those. We're not okay with it, but we understand now those 2 losses, they showed us where we're struggling. They showed us where we currently have cracks. And so now we can go back to practice and work on those things. Guess what? Those 2 games, yeah, we lost. But guess what? We really won. Why? Because they showed us how to get better. They showed us how to get better. They gave us experience where we can grow from that. So when we play them again, or we play other teams, guess what? We're a little bit better, or maybe a lot better, because because we've secured it in our mind that we are good players, that we can continue to grow, that we don't have to let the doubts, worries, and fears say, hey, guess what? Like, I'm really worried about now we're just going to win or lose like 6 straight. We're not thinking like that. We say, hey, guess what? That happened. That's great experience. Let's grow from it. Okay? Can I get a couple thumbs up if that's clicking? Okay? So guess what? Well, we'll keep moving on. We're almost done. We'll get to a break really quick right after this, okay? So, if we are going to get to the top, so think about this little triangle. Now we've just blown it up over here. We have to build a vocabulary of victory. We cannot have the same language that we've had before. Listen to your language. If you want to know anything about anybody, listen to the way they speak. They will tell you everything you need to know about them. Okay, when I say, hey, how'd the game go? I usually don't ask that question because it's so surface level, but let's just use it for an example. How'd the game go? It was okay, but I struck out twice and I made an error. Okay, you just told me what you're focusing on. You told me everything I need to know, that you had a whole game and those are the only 2 things that you take away from it, that you made an error and you struck out. Okay? So what I want to do is teach you how, if I'm going to become more, right? Because we're shifting who we are now to who we're striving to become because of the goals we have to start to up the language, okay? So real quick, let's go with Devin Johnson. You're on my screen. If you say, I can't do it, if you say, I can't do it, what emotions come with can't do?
Negative emotions.
Okay, give me specifics.
Like you're focusing on the wrong,
Yeah, so we got negative emotions, okay? If I say, I just can't do it, let's say you're working on a homework problem and it's just, you can't do it. What emotion comes to mind or what thought? Yeah, Riley.
Frustration.
Frustration. What else? How about this word? Defeat. Defeat. I am defeated. If I say I can't do it and I'm walking to the plate, I'm 0 for 3. Okay? Or I know there's volleyball players. Let's say you're an outside hitter and you're going to, you've gotten blocked 3 times and they're so tall on the other side of the net. Okay? And you get served up, say, I can't do it. Well, I'm defeated before I even get a chance. Make sense? Okay, well, what about need to, have to, must? Let's go with Jaden McNeil. When you've told that to yourself before, need to, I have to, I must come through right now, what emotions come to mind?
Basically, like, I just feel you're putting like too much pressure on yourself.
Boom.
That you have to do it.
Pressure, obligation, right? How well, not necessarily you, Jaden, but just think to yourself, how well are you playing when you're saying, I have to come through right now? Okay, I already made an error, I got to make up for it. Probably not that well. Okay, and then should I think of like some of those people who already have D1 scholarships and like everyone below them who doesn't, we're like at the high school level, like, oh, I should be doing well. I should be, getting hit every time or whatever. So there's almost an element of embarrassment, maybe, or shame, and a lot of frustration. That how am I struggling against them when the next year or the year after that I'm supposed to be playing versus these other people that are way better than this level, right? Okay, so there's this idea, there's this line right here where it's motivated, this level of speaking, this level of language, motivated by fear. Motivated by fear, these right here, the can't do's, the need to, the have. I'm motivated by here, I have to do this. Okay, but then all of a sudden, there's this line where it's inspired. Inspiration comes from internal, motivation is external. Inspired by the love of your sport. So when I say choose to, all of a sudden, I feel empowered. I get to and want to, guess what? excitement. You're looking forward to it. And then I love to, wow, that's ideal. Like, get me there. That's confidence, passion. I want to, I love to. Put me in this. Well, what if you're like, I'm 0 for 4 and the bases are loaded and I'm coming up 2 outs. Some people don't love to be in that position. Guess what? You got to love to be in that position because you have to trust you more than anybody else to get the job done. You believe in you more than anyone else because of your preparation and your mental approach. Say, hey, put me in that position because I love to. Or maybe you're on the mound in a big jam. I love to be in this position. Not because things are going great, because guess what? I trust me more than anyone else to get the job done right now. Would you like to enjoy that feeling? That's a difference in language. When you have a vocabulary of victory, okay, all of a sudden, these might be where you're currently at, and that's okay because guess what? You haven't been taught any better. But now you have the knowledge, okay? But guess what? Knowledge minus action equals, I'm going to put a W, wasted knowledge. Because now you have knowledge. Now you have something that no one else has, but if you don't use it, you're in the same boat as them. Okay, so start to check in on your language. Am I going with I choose to do this? I get to do this. I get to be in this position. I want to be and I love to be. Or are you stuck in that pressure? Because all of your words, my friends, they have emotions attached to them. They have emotions attached to them. And when you're at your best, you're playing from a place of confidence. You're playing from a place of passion and excitement and joy. And when you're not playing at your best, you're all of these right here. Okay, can I get a couple thumbs up? Cool. All right, I got a digital thumbs up from Caitlin Cook. Love it. Okay, so I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock, and I want you to create some new being goals. Who were you before today and after today? Because of what we've just talked about, who do you get to become? So maybe that's changing your language, how you speak to yourself and others, okay? To a vocab of victory. Maybe that's people you hang out with, right? Now you're getting a crew of people who are going to build you up.